Frankie, you might be a little proud of me today. Sorry, can't hear you. You're blocked from my Vision OS profile. Well, I traded in my iPhone 11, so it's gone now. What the heck are you doing? I traded in my old iPhone and sold my Blackmagic. You traded it in? Did you buy an Apple product again? Yeah, in fact, I got a 15 Pro with the ProMotion and the titanium and everything. We're family again. This is great news! Yeah, I thought you might be a little excited. Oh, come here, man. I'm so sorry for all the terrible things I said to you and did to you, and I can't wait to go on trips together again. We can talk, we can hang out. Like, this is just the start of a beautiful brothership. Wait, what did you do to me exactly? May have fabricated some documents and sent them to immigration to try to get you deported. It's fine. It's all in the past now, okay? It's in the past. Oh, well... Okay, thanks, Frankie. Don't mention it. Let me get you an Apple Watch. I don't need all that. Okay. Let me explain. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that on many occasions I've been telling Apple over and over again, I still think you should make a designated camera. As long as you're filming your Apple events with some other kind of professional camera, then I will continue to advocate that the iPhone designated camera is not enough. And I finally had to eat my own words. Apple put their money where their mouth is, because the whole last Apple event, while the actual Macs they announced were not that exciting or interesting to me, the more exciting part was just that little bit of fine print we got at the very end of the keynote saying that the entire thing had been shot on iPhone 15 Pro. And I was like, okay, so I suppose the 15 Pro is basically that designated camera I've always been asking for, and the truth is, I've also gotten very much in love with all the smartphones I reviewed this year with filming my videos off my phone. For one, when I'm traveling, I have to be very light and efficient with my packing, so packing around the Blackmagic camera was simply just not gonna work. Also, the Pocket Cinema camera, while it's an amazing device and there's a lot of use cases where I would straight up recommend people buy that camera, I'm not saying the iPhone 15 Pro replaces every use case for DSLRs, but for my particular use case, which is often me in a room, you know, talking to you guys, often needing to plug in my microphone to the iPhone, and usually editing all of these videos off of my MacBook Pro in somewhat speedy fashion. For my particular use case, it was just starting to click in my head that filming on phones honestly just makes way too much sense. And I filmed a lot of videos this year on my iPhone SE, and they still performed great and didn't get that many complaints about it, to be honest. And in the last couple months, I've honestly really enjoyed recording all kinds of videos using the regular iPhone 15, and then I recorded off the Pixel 8 for a while, and that's thanks to USB-C actually supporting external microphones that combines the video and the audio and makes the editing experience much, much easier for me. I don't have to keep track of SD cards, which my old Zoom mic is a great sounding microphone for a lot of different scenarios. However, getting the SD card thing to format and optimize correctly definitely gets old. Like, I'll put in an SD card and it'll say, this card is not valid, and then I take it out and put it back in, and then it works, and then I reboot the mic and it stops working, and it's just a little finicky to have to deal with the different file formats, because whatever Mac OS accepts seems to mess up the SD card slot on my Zoom, and I also don't want to deal with SD cards. They're small and easy to lose, and they can go bad and stuff. So I would much rather have my Zoom connected directly to the camera, which I've done with the Blackmagic in the past, but that's not really an option if I'm going to be out of the country or away from home for months at a time. We're actually getting ready for another somewhat big trip in a couple of weeks, and that again would have been a circumstance where it's like, okay, I can't pack the Blackmagic, it's just too bulky. I need to have a phone anyway. I use my phone all the time. And the other circumstance that I dove more into the details on the more recent Tailosive Tech podcast is that a friend of mine who's more into freelance video work, you know, being hired by other people, was interested in my camera because he was going to buy a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera anyway. And I had already kind of felt like my Blackmagic was not really a bad tool, but it was not the right tool for the job, because we talk about smartphones and their cameras a lot on this channel. So this is kind of just a great exercise for me to experiment with how to make camera, videography, and photography better. I'm not saying I'm an expert on it. I'm not even saying that I know what I'm doing when it comes to lighting and color correction, as I'm sure most of you can already tell, I'm kind of an amateur at all this, but regardless, my friend was interested in buying the camera, and if I didn't sell it to him, he was going to buy one anyway, so I gave him a lower than market average price for it, and used that money, coupled with my iPhone 11, which I never really even chose that phone, it just kind of fell to me after various people in my family, you know, needed phones, and we swapped around, played musical phones, as I'm sure you guys remember from all the videos of me switching around, and it was only 64 gigs, so my wife had no interest in switching to it in the future anyway, so I decided trade in the iPhone 11 because Apple's trade-in credit was honestly pretty good for the 11. It was $200. I was looking at the resale market. Maybe I could have gotten an additional 20 or 40 bucks out of it if I sold it privately, but it was not in perfect condition, and the battery health was about 80%. It was kind of dropping by the week, so I didn't feel like offloading it to someone else on Marketplace or eBay or whatever. So I just decided, you know what, Apple, you can have it, and that brought down the price of the entry model 15 Pro to actually less than what I sold the Blackmagic camera for. So I know I've been very budget-minded on this channel and always looking for what's the most cost-effective way to get by with less. And basically, overall, I ended up profiting off of switching to the iPhone 15 Pro, not losing out on any money. So that's how I was kind of able to justify this in my head, but I'll be honest, I definitely was torn between making that splurge on the 15 Pro with the log support and the ProRes, or just going back to the regular iPhone 15, which I loved so much. And honestly, I thought the recordings off of it looked pretty good. I was happy with it. But after seeing Apple record an entire presentation on the 15 Pro and basically fool everybody, like no one saw that coming, it definitely made me feel like I had to give the 15 Pro a shot. And I've been filming and editing with it for about a week now, and I can say that the log recording definitely has a more noticeable difference in quality than the switch from HEVC to ProRes. It's definitely not some magic filter that suddenly makes the 15 Pro way better than my Blackmagic. In fact, in terms of depth data and, you know, natural bokeh, honestly, I still think in some ways my Blackmagic camera looks better, but this is not bad enough, in my opinion, for it to be a deal breaker, especially if it's more efficient for my system. I have autofocus now, my Blackmagic did not. And while I liked the camera quality quite a bit from my last camera, I still got lots of comments saying, this footage looks really bad, or you look out of focus, because it had such a narrow depth of field. If I was just a little bit out of it, I looked much, much blurrier, and obviously I don't think that many people are complaining whenever I do switch to a smartphone for my main camera. Most people are like, yeah, this still looks fine. It looks great. It works. At the end of the day, it's just me talking to a camera, which is part of the reason I'm still questioning if the 15 Pro is the right tool for me. I know I can get by with the regular iPhone 15 and save even more money, but there's more differences than just the cameras, right? Like the 15 Pro not only has the bigger sensor, the ProRes, and the log, but it also has the faster USB-C port, which in my line of work, kind of every second counts, and if there's a way for me to save some time during that import process, yeah, you know, it's not worth nothing. You know, I can get like 20 times faster data transfer speeds with the 15 Pro's USB-C ports. I definitely kind of spoiled myself with that on the Pixel 8 because it also had a faster USB-C port. So the whole process of importing footage off of my iPhone to my Mac is definitely going to be a lot faster with the 15 Pro, and during the next couple months, thankfully I ordered this thing during the holiday return window, I kind of have to ask myself whether or not the Pro is worth it over the regular for this line of work, and I hope that you guys can kind of help me make an informed decision on that, because I know there's some advantages to recording in log. You definitely get more dynamic range to work with in post with the color correcting and all that, and the 15 Pro is still rocking other features like its macro mode, and it does have a designated telephoto. I was not interested in getting the Pro Max. I was not going to make money if I swapped out my Blackmagic for that, and also I don't use the 5X very much anyway. If I'm still debating if I should go with an iPhone 15, which doesn't come with a telephoto lens at all, then I think that says a lot about how much I actually need designated lenses. For this line of work, it's just kind of a debate between regular 15 and 15 Pro. Battery life has been great for me. I've got chargers everywhere. I'm not worried about which phone has better battery life. And I'd be lying if I said that I didn't kind of like having, you know, dynamic island, a ProMotion display, an actual white color option instead of barely blue. And the action button is kind of cool. I'd rather have an action button than a ringer switch, but honestly, I'd rather have neither Pixel 8 style, but that's just me. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I hope I don't come across as being a hypocrite, which I know I probably kind of look like one after downgrading a few years ago from a 13 Pro Max to an iPhone 10, using older phones and reviewing those, which I still think are valid. And if I was not a content creator looking to review cameras and sell off my old camera camera, replace it with a higher end iPhone with USB-C, which is kind of crucial for me to keeping the whole import process and audio recording process simple, I definitely would have kept the iPhone 11. There was really nothing wrong with it for all of its phone purposes. It still got the job done just fine. It still could text. I could still use social media and email. Even the cameras on the iPhone 11 were not bad at all. It had more to do with the connectivity of plugging it into external professional accessories like my microphone and also getting the footage off of that phone in a timely manner. So I would still encourage a lot of people to not upgrade their phone. I don't think you necessarily need to get a USB-C iPhone if you're not a full-time YouTuber or anything like that, because these slight differences in time, like importing footage over USB 3 instead of USB 2, that makes a big difference when, like me, you're producing 2, maybe 3 videos in a day. But if YouTube's just a hobby for you and maybe you're pumping out 1 or 2 videos a week, then yeah, just airdrop that footage. It's not that big a deal. It's not going to come up a lot in your daily life. But this, for me at least, was coming up a lot and more frequently. And I suppose I'm kind of on that train of pursuing essentialism. It's kind of a subsection of minimalism, but I realized that I like to try to get by with less, and I had the opportunity to ditch my old iPhone 11 and my old Blackmagic. So I got rid of 2 things for the replacement of 1 thing that can do the job of both. My 15 Pro obviously is still a great phone, and now it can act as a pretty good pro camera. You know, not DSLR levels of pro, but for my line of work where I just need to whip a device out really quick and hit record and talk to a camera and throw that footage on my MacBook and edit it really quickly. Yeah, this I think is a very decent solution for that, and honestly, it lets me work faster than my old camera did. And it's kind of up to you whether or not you think it's actually an improvement or a downgrade compared to my last camera. It's all kind of personal preference though, from what I've seen. I know some people that actually prefer the look of iPhone and Pixel recording, and some people that prefer the Blackmagic, but at the end of the day, I just like kind of challenging myself and trying new things, and I also felt like Apple deserved a little bit of credit and acknowledgement from me for finally filming an Apple event on a phone. It kind of proved to everybody that it's not really about the camera. It's not really about the lens or the sensor. It's just about lighting and how creative you can get with the hardware you have. And I'm not trying to say I'm creative with lighting. I'm pretty lazy and sloppy with this stuff, but if I want my videos to improve in the future, I now take it on myself that it's not a matter of getting the right camera, it's about getting the right lighting and getting the right angles and trying to be a bit more creative with how you record your videos, not what you record your videos with. So I don't know, am I a hypocrite? Am I gonna be upgrading every year now? I don't know. I'm playing this whole thing by ear. I don't have a long-term plan or long-term vision here. I just know that my friend needed a camera, so I sold it to him, and I wanted to review the 15 Pro, and I didn't really want to hold on to the iPhone 11 forever. So now I'm with the 15 Pro, and all my videos are gonna be shot on iPhone pretty much from here on out, and that will make B-roll a little more challenging, specifically if I want to film my 15 Pro, but it's all just in the name of creativity, exercising how to get by with less, and I didn't think I needed a designated camera anymore. When iPhone cameras have gotten this good, I think we should challenge ourselves and try to see what's possible with the latest hardware. But what do you guys think? Am I crazy? Was this a moronic decision? Feel free to let me know down in the comments below, and thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos, so thanks again. This is your Help Sheep here, and I will see you all in the next one.